of Department Order 31 when it was issued in 2018. Based on the records, sir, it would appear that Department Order 31 in 2018 was issued to comply with the requirements under the RH law in section 14, because in section 14 of RH law, your honors, there is a requirement for the Department of Education to formulate a curriculum with respect to the law, your honors, and that is why DO 31 was issued. Admittedly, your honors, when you read DO 31, there are some references to UNESCO, particularly the definition of comprehensive sexuality education. Your honors, I have with me the Assistant Secretary for Curriculum, which may assist us, your honors, in discussing the rationale of DO 31, and the Undersecretary for Operations, which may assist us in discussing the challenges that we have faced implementing the department order. If I, with your permission, your honors, I refer to first to the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Teaching.
Yes, go ahead, Asek.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. On a curriculum point of view, the curriculum for the comprehensive sexuality education adapt a grade level, age and developmentally appropriate approach that include learning competencies which anticipate biopsychosocial milestones of by about 2 years. The topics include human development, personhood, healthy relationships, sexuality and sexual behaviors, sexual and reproductive health, gender, culture, and human rights. These are integrated in multiple subjects such as MAPE, Araling Panlipunan, Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, and Science. Basically, what we did, Mr. Chair, is we mapped all of the competencies in our curriculum, and then we matched it with those that indirectly or directly address the comprehensive sexuality education.
You can continue with your presentation if you wish.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So in this case, we can see the DepEd CSE framework. Again, this was decided on by a series of consultations with experts and specialists in the field, and they came up with this framework where many different facets of the comprehensive sexuality education are really ingrained and incorporated in what is existing in our curriculum. Next slide, please. For integration of the teachings in the curriculum, hold on, Mr. Chair. Let me just. So teachers employ learner-centered, appropriate to to deliver the comprehensive sexuality education curriculum, encouraging active participation of the learners, critical thinking, and reflection. So they create safe and inclusive learning environments by allowing them to respect each other and to treat each other even though they're different. They treat each other as fairly as possible. When students feel comfortable asking questions and responding to sensitive topics. So some examples of how CSE concepts are integrated in the different subject areas is, for example, in science, there's a discussion on puberty, reproductive health, and of course, STIs. For MAPE, there are lessons on personal hygiene, sexual health, and responsible decision making. For ESP, we have exploration of values, ethics, and respect in relationships. And for AP, Araling Panlipunan, we have examination of gender roles, cultural norms, and human rights related to sexuality. Next slide, please. So for the monitoring and evaluation of the CSE implementation, we have data collection efforts, number of school implementing CSE, and the number of teachers trained, and the reach of the program itself. We have mechanisms for doing the M&E. We have pre-test and post-test and teacher observation forms and classroom observations, including interviews and focus group discussions. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, that's the last slide, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Risa, you want to do the honors to start off with questions?
Alright, salamat po Mr. Chair. Siguro i-follow up ko yung initial presentation ng DepEd sa ating USEC at mga ASEC din. So Mr. Chair, in the briefer that DepEd released earlier this month, you reported that 11,079 PTA, PTC, parent representatives from pilot, as the chair was mentioning, pilot and non-pilot regions were trained and oriented on comprehensive sexuality education. So ano po yung breakdown nitong CSE parent orientations? Pwede niyo po bang ibahagi sa komite namin kung ilang eskwelahan ang involved sa bawat rehiyon, pilot regions at saka non-pilot regions, at ilan pong mga guro ang na-train sa CSE as of 2024, last year, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, let me pull out that data.
Madam Chair, while ASIC Engineer is looking for the breakdown of the PTAs trained, based on our data sets, we have been able to train 400,000 teachers on CSE, specifically the more sensitive and more complex aspects of CSP that is separate from their inset or their in-service training.
Tapos may bilang na po ba ng mga parent orientations? Kasi 'di ba dun sa DepEd, yung CSE hindi lamang para sa mga estudyante, para din sa parents and guardians and of course para sa teachers. So ano naman po yung breakdown ng CSE parent orientations?
I'm trying to locate that data, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
My
Asik.
apologies. If you can give me more time po.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Chair. At pati po sana kung ilang mga eskwelahan ang involved per region at saka ilang mga guro ang nasanay din sa CSE as of 2024. May I proceed, Mr. Chair? Or salamat po. So, since the issuance of this DepEd Order 31, series of 2018, so going on 7 years na, ano po yung main bottlenecks na nagpabagal dun sa faithful and effective implementation of CSE? At sa bottlenecks na yon, anong measures ang ginawa ng DepEd para tugunan itong mga bottlenecks na ito, Mr. Chair?
Madam Chair, in terms of the implementation of DO 31, of course, the initial challenge should be the familiarity of our teachers when it comes to the content. And this was supplemented by conducting teacher trainings. It was included as part of the in-service training, which covers all teachers as part of their mandatory annual training. But apart from that, we also pushed for the specialized training of CSE oriented teachers, which, as I've mentioned earlier, about 400,000 teachers have been trained on that matter. And our goal is to hopefully eventually get all teachers accustomed to knowing how to effectively handle CSE as a topic for our learners.
So, Mr. Chair, 400,000 specialized teachers. Sa kabuang, ilan po ba ang human resources ng DepEd na eventually may involve sa implementasyon ng CSE?
The universe of teachers that we have, Madam Chair, is a little over 800,000. So we're roughly at around the halfway point, although we would like to note that we prioritized, of course, the specialized training of CSE for the teachers that are handling the older demographics, particularly those handling the adolescent age bracket as intended to by law. And at the same time, we also had a bit of challenge, particularly in terms of coordinating with other government agencies that have pro-adolescent health and well-being services, particularly services that may be offered by the DOH, the SWD, and the like, when it comes to a myriad of reasons on teenage pregnancy prevention, whether it be OSAIC, CSAM, or several other considerations on that matter. More so that in terms of the universe of learners that we're able to monitor, we would only be able to monitor those that are within the school premises. So out of school youth, teenage pregnancies on that regard, we might not be able to provide direct intervention to if they are not part of the basic education system.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. I'd be interested and the committee would be interested, I believe, to hear more ano yung bottleneck sa coordination among other government agencies. And I'm sure, Mr. Chair, maitatanong din po natin during this hearing sa Department of Health. Salamat po dun sa pagbanggit nyo, ASEC, na hindi masaklawan ng DepEd yung buong concerns about online sexual abuse and exploitation of children or OSAEC at saka yung CSAM or child sexual abuse and exploitation materials na nakapagpasa na rin po kami dito sa Senado ng mga batas para ma-empower yung law enforcement agencies, yung community organizations, yung parents sa mga komunidad, pati po yung mga internet service providers, social media platforms, pati financial intermediaries na labanan itong OSAIC at CSAM. And I just want to make it a record, Mr. Chair, importante din ito kahit sa incidents at pagpapababa natin sa incidents ng teenage pregnancy dahil yung vast majority ng mga partners ng mga batang ina natin o yung mga ama ng mga babies, ng mga batang ina ay much older than them. So nag-indicate ng power imbalance talaga and the high probability of abuse, even rape of these teenage mothers na ina-exacerbate, fina-facilitate din ng OSAIC at CSAM. And salamat din po, ASIC, sa pagbanggit nyo na syempre ang saklaw lang ng DepEd ay within the school premises. Kaya importante na yung CSE ma-implementa, ma-evaluate, continuously ma-improve, maiayos yung mali, mapuno yung gaps, also for out-of-school youth or community-based youth. At may tulad sa aming mga magulang sa mga eskwelahan and guardians and teachers, ma-empower din yung mga magulang and other responsible adults sa mga komunidad, tulungan yung ating mga out-of-school youth, maiwasan ang teenage pregnancy at kahit mabuntis na sila, manganak na sila, mabigyan ng social protection para magbalik-aral, magtapos, turuan yung paano nila alagaan yung mga babies nila at matulungan sila na maiwasan ang paulit